So if you found this on YouTube, then this is actually a video that I'm making for a graduate school class at University of Houston. My major is Masters of Education, Curriculum and Instruction with an art specialization, and this is part of one of my art education classes. So most Mondays we do show and tell, where we introduce something that we found that's a good resource for other educators, and then we present it for the class. This week I have found something, it's kind of exciting. I love all the online stuff, but I found something that's like a physical thing. I was looking for a book. This is not a book, but that's okay too, because I'm already reading a ton of books. I got this on Amazon, and I was looking for something that would solve a problem that has come up with my substitute teaching that I just started a few weeks ago. And I just didn't realize how much of education is actually classroom management, because once you don't really have control over the classroom and people are just being disruptive, then you don't get to teach anything. The kids are not going to learn anything unless they can sit in their chairs and actually pay attention and stop hitting each other. And yeah, people have told me that substitute teaching was the hardest thing they've ever done, and now I believe them. It's probably the hardest thing I've done, and I've been working for a long time. But anyways, so I'll put a link to where I got this on Amazon, and they have a whole bunch of other resources on all kinds of topics, so I'm excited to see the rest of those too. This is called Managing Your Classroom with Restorative Practices, and it's like this plastic thing. It's got like punch holes so you can put it in a binder, which is nice if you like physical stuff too. And it was also, for me, an introduction to restorative practices that seemed more effective than what I was seeing in the classrooms, which was when I was just assisting a teacher, or when a teacher had to come in and rescue me because it was getting obvious that things were getting a little crazy in there. The things that the kids were listening to were just a booming, yelling voice. And I understand that sometimes that's probably necessary. I don't know, I'm still very green. But when I am a full-time teacher and this is my class, I would like to just establish how things are gonna go from the very first day, and never have to really do what I was seeing. It seemed to be the only effective way to get control of the classroom. I don't want to yell. I don't want to make my voice really deep. It doesn't do that. So I would like to use things like this that are a lot more constructive long term whenever it is my room. Some really good things in here are approaching like how to have a strategy for building a relationship with your students, conferences with individual students that are struggling, either behaviorally or academically, either one of those. And then there's like more positive things too in here. It says like aspirational counseling, like what would you like to do with your life, and who would you want to be as a person. So that would help with kind of like almost like counseling your students. But then there's one that seems kind of fun. I'm not sure like how this would actually work in the real world, but you see this with a lot of adults too, where you sit in a circle and everybody sits down in a circle, and then they have some kind of like talking stick, like, you know, an object that they pass down the row as each person gets a chance to speak. And the idea is that person is speaking, everyone else is supposed to listen. And then it has like different types of circles. There's also the one where it's not like just sequential around the circle. Sometimes it's a circle around two people in chairs having dialogue with each other. And then like non-sequential circles, all of that. And then it also has like different ways that you can have affective statements. So instead of being like, you did this and you did that, and that kind of language, which is something that I learned in my psych classes, interpersonal interactions, like the ways that you can script your conversations that aren't like you're attacking that person. This one uses, for example, I statements instead of lectures. It says, this simple change can be an important step towards building a relationship, because now you're talking with the students instead of at the students. And then it's like, for example, if they're not engaged and they're off task, a typical response might be to tell that student to pay attention. And that gets really old. I don't like having to just order them to do things. And you can switch that language, it says, to an I statement that allows the student to understand the effect of their behavior. Try saying, I'm seeing that you're having a hard time paying attention. I feel like you could be more engaged with this assignment. How can I help you be on track? So this is a great resource. I would highly recommend it. Like I said, I'm going to put the link in the description below this so you can see like where to get it. And yeah, just lots of useful things. This is what it looks like. It just packed a lot of information on like just this little simple thing that you can just carry around with you. And if anybody has any advice on substituting and classroom management from that perspective, that would be great. This is not my class. I haven't gotten to have these kinds of discussions with them yet. So it's a completely different perspective, and I would actually really appreciate any pointers from either my class or the YouTube world. All right, thanks.